Alright, so hi ladies. Today I'm here with a video on hair porosity. So basically I've been natural for quite some time now, and I believe I take pretty good care of my hair. You know, I don't go crazy with combs and brushes and just like dragging it through my hair. I'm very slow with that process. I moisturize my hair, I keep my ends trimmed, I don't sleep on cotton or anything like that that saps moisture out. I don't do excessive heat. I do lots of protective styles. You know, like I try to take as good of care as my hair as I possibly can. And still, no matter what I do, I still deal with dry hair. I still deal with frizzy hair. I still have problems keeping my curls defined. And I'm at the point where I'm just like, what is it that I'm doing or not doing that is keeping my hair from being its optimal greatness? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is keeping it from looking its absolute best and retaining moisture, etc., etc. So, of course, hair porosity is something that I've known about for a long time, but I've honestly just never really given it any thought. 'Cause I'm just like, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And of course, a few times over the years I've tried doing the porosity hair check, you know, this strand in a cup of water, and I just never really felt that my results were definitive, so I just never really moved forward one way or the other. So now here I am today, and recently I've decided to really do more research on hair porosity and what it is and how it really affects how our hair reacts to products and the environment. So porosity is a measure of void. So basically it determines how much space is in a material. So when you think about porosity, you're thinking about, does your hair have gaps and holes in it, okay? And then what goes along with porosity is permeability. So permeability is a measure of ease with which fluid, water, can move through the porous object or material. So you have the cortex of your hair, so we'll just say this is the cortex, and then you have the cuticle. So the cuticle on low porosity hair, it lays flat against the cortex. So therefore there's no gaps and there's no holes, and then water or product or anything has a hard time getting under the cuticle to really moisturize or penetrate the hair. Then when you have high porosity hair, you're essentially, the cuticle is raised, so there's a hole or a gap. Therefore, water and product can easily get under the cuticle. Anytime that something can easily get in, it can easily come out. So low porosity hair has a hard time letting moisture in, therefore it has a hard time letting moisture out. And high porosity hair has a very easy time letting moisture in, therefore it easily lets moisture out. Porosity is genetic. So just the way your hair comes out of your head, whether it comes out curly or straight or wavy, that's determined by your genetics. So is your porosity. So your hair comes out of your head porous or not porous. That's just the fact. So the environment and things that you do to your hair, such as combing or brushing excessively, chemical treatments, the sun, heat, all of those things can further exacerbate the porosity of your hair, causing damage. And when your hair is further damaged, now you have bigger holes and bigger gaps, and your hair is even drier and frizzier. Okay, so within the natural hair community, the most common test that people do to figure this out is the float test. And this involves taking a strand of hair, placing it in a glass of water, and dependent upon whether it floats or sinks, it's supposed to tell you the porosity of your hair. I believe a better way to go about trying to figure out whether your hair is porous or not is to look at the characteristics of low porosity hair and high porosity hair. And then based on the characteristics of those types of hair, you can kind of determine what your hair is. characteristics of low porosity hair. Low porosity hair takes a long time to dry. Now you have to think about this when your hair is naked, not how long it takes to dry with product on it or oils and butters and all that kind of stuff, but straight out of the shower, does your hair dry quickly or does it take a long time to dry? So low porosity hair takes a long time to dry. You experience product buildup rather than product absorption. So the product will just sit on top of your hair because the cuticle is laid down really flat and it's not letting that product in. And when you go to shower and you go to wash your hair or put water on it, it takes a long time for your hair to fully saturate. Okay, so high porosity hair, it easily absorbs water. So you go to wash your hair and in no time flat, your hair has absorbed the water and it's soaking wet. It also requires more product. So you have to be very generous with your products. You generally have to use a lot of products to really achieve the look you want. That's high porosity hair. Your curls dry very quickly. So straight out of the shower, you go to try to style your hair, and before you can even finish the first section and move on to the next one, it's already started to dry out. You know, your hair is losing the water quickly. It's drying quickly. High porosity hair tends to have lots of frizz because the cuticle isn't laying flat like this and it's raised. It's causing a lot of frizz and tangles. Frizz and tangles. Key point of high porosity hair. And your hair can have a tendency to look and feel dry. A lot of times we'll search on YouTube and look for other hair vloggers that have similar texture to ours or similar curl pattern and things like that, but we're not really taking into account that person's hair porosity, you know, or the thickness or the density of their hair. And I personally believe that those things are really the determining factors if my hair is going to react the way that person's hair reacted in their video. I mean, because we could have the same size curls, but my hair can be more cottony and their hair may not. Or my hair could be high porosity and their hair is low porosity. You know what I'm saying? So those factors really play a huge part in how your hair reacts to products and to the environment. Low porosity hair. Try using indirect heat, so steam and hooded dryers. Wash your hair in warm water. That helps to open the cuticle and help remove buildup of product. You want to apply your products to damp hair opposed to soaking wet hair. So that's that. And when you're low porosity, you have a tendency to want to avoid proteins, silicones, waxes, and heavy oils and butters. Now, high porosity hair, which I haven't said to this point, but my hair happens to be high porosity. I deal with lots of frizz. I deal with struggling to keep my hair moisturized. Like, I can moisturize it, and by the end of the day or the next day, like, I need more moisture all over again. And I'm using creams and butters. I'm not using little spritzes and lightweight conditioners. So that lets me know that my hair is highly porous. Okay, so blah, blah, blah. High porosity hair. So things that will help: heavy butters and oils. These things will fill in the gaps in your hair to help, you know, keep the cuticle from being so raised. It fills in the gaps between the cortex and the cuticle. Apple cider vinegar rinses. So after you shampooed and done your deep conditioner, rinse your hair with apple cider vinegar. The high pH in it helps to close the cuticle down and gives shine. Cold water rinses does the same thing that apple cider vinegar does. It helps to close the cuticle down. And protein treatments. So since high porosity hair tends to be weak, protein will help strengthen the hair. And so basically, when your cuticle is raised, the protein comes in right here under the cuticle and creates a bond that keeps the cuticle secure down to the cortex of your hair. So protein treatments are very important, and of course, when you do protein treatments, you want to make sure that you follow up with a moisturizing conditioner. Protein helps the moisturizers to work better in your hair. And things you want to avoid: harsh sulfates, direct heat. You don't want to cause further damage by putting like a flat iron or a curling iron right on your hair very often. And also harsh chemicals, colors, relaxers, things like that you want to be careful with because it can further damage your hair.